everybody, welcome back. My name is Dr. Chelsea Roscheid. I'm the head sleep expert at Wesper, and today we're going to talk all about meditation and how to use it to improve your sleep. As always, if you have any questions at all after this webinar, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is chelsea@wesper.co. That's CHELSIE@WESPER.co. Alternatively, if you'd like to learn more about sleep and how to improve your sleep health, check out our website. That's wesper.co. So let's jump right in. So sleep meditation is going to be very related to one of our previous topics. So I previously touched on sleep and mental health, and we know that meditation before we go to sleep not only helps improve your sleep quality, but it can massively improve your mental health as well. So a general overview about what topics we're actually going to cover today. First and foremost, I'm going to tell you what meditation is, what it is, how people do meditation. Then we're going to talk about why it actually helps you sleep. Why does it improve your sleep? Why does it make it easier to fall asleep? Why is it helpful for people with stress and insomnia specifically? Next, we're going to talk about when to meditate. So when do you incorporate meditation into your daily routine to ensure that you get better quality sleep at night? We're going to talk about how to get started with meditating. I'm going to give you some helpful hints on where to go next to learn more about meditation or just get started. And then finally, we're also going to talk about focused breathing, because even though focused breathing isn't necessarily specific to meditation, it's not considered meditation on its own. You can use it in a way that is very similar to meditation, and some people find it easier and preferred to use before sleep than going through actual meditation. Okay, so let's jump right in. What is meditation? So meditation is the learned process of clearing your mind. It allows you to stop focusing on the surrounding environment and instead focus your intention on a very specific internal thought pattern or physical feeling of the body. Now, when we meditate, we try to prolong that specific thought pattern and that focus for anywhere from 10 minutes all the way up to an hour. So it's really about being able to turn off your mind, not only to all the outside stimuli that's causing you issues, but also quieting your mind of those intrusive, stressful thoughts that may be causing you issues with your sleep or making it very difficult to fall asleep. So meditation requires a lot of practice. Not all of us are going to be able to immediately meditate. Our brains have a tendency to wander. So holding a specific thought or feeling in our brain for a prolonged period of time takes a lot of work. So it's important to realize that while you can start meditating today, you may not get the hang of it for a few days, or it may take you up to a month or longer to really get into the routine of meditating and find that it's actually helping you, improving your mood, helping you reduce those intrusive thoughts, and also helping to improve your sleep. So, preface before we jump into the other topics today, but meditation does take time. So be gentle on yourself. If you start it today or start it tomorrow, allow yourself a week or two to get used to doing it, and don't be too hard on yourself if you find it difficult at first. So now that I've explained exactly what meditation is, let's talk about how it helps you get better sleep at night. And I'll also say that meditation is so beneficial for so many other aspects of your life. Meditation improves your mood. It's good for your general health and well-being. It can improve your focus. It can keep you more relaxed. So there's so many other benefits to meditation that I'm not going to get into, but just be aware that it is fantastic for every aspect of your life. But let's talk about how specifically meditation improves your sleep. So one of the biggest problems with sleep and people who don't sleep very well or people who have insomnia is that they have high stress in their life, they have maybe a little bit of anxiety, and they have very racing, fast minds when they're trying to fall asleep. This is so incredibly common. It's one of the biggest reasons people have onset insomnia, which is the inability to fall asleep. And if they have maintenance insomnia, where they wake up in the middle of the night, it also keeps them from going back to bed. So stress and anxiety, racing thoughts, all terrible for sleep. It does not make for good quality sleep or a restful night. So how does meditation fix that? Well, meditation trains your brain to turn those intrusive, stressful thoughts off, to quiet your brain, to slow down your brain waves, and really help you better prepare for sleep. So many people will be totally exhausted, but as soon as their head hits the pillow, their brain is going a million miles an hour. So what do? Well, if you do meditating, where you focus your thoughts on one specific thing, or focus your thoughts on the feeling of your body, that's gonna help remove all of that loud, noisy, stressful chatter in your brain, turn it off, which will allow your nervous system to de-stress, which will make it easier for you to fall asleep once you are ready to try. So quieting your brain and teaching your brain not to focus on negative, stressful thoughts is one of the biggest benefits of meditating. Next, meditation helps bring you out of fight or flight mode and brings you into rest and digest mode. So there are two branches of our nervous system that control our bodily functions and our mood. One is the sympathetic nervous system. That's the side that's responsible for fight or flight. That's the side that gets activated when we're really stressed. That's the side that gets activated when we need a lot of energy, like when we're working out or we're doing, a task. That is not the side of our nervous system we want to be activated when we're trying to fall asleep. Instead, we want to focus on activating the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the nervous system that allows us to be calm, sleepy, low stress, chill, ready for good quality sleep. So many people who suffer with onset insomnia are almost permanently stuck in that sympathetic state. They're almost permanently stuck in fight or flight mode. We know from many years of clinical research, from studying people, studying the effects of what meditation does in the brain, studying the effects of what meditation does in the body, that when we meditate for a certain period of time, usually 15 to 30 minutes, we can essentially switch our nervous system over from the sympathetic side to the parasympathetic side, which is absolutely necessary for sleep. So this is an amazing technique to use because not only can it provide very quick relief to the stress and the chatter, it can help slow your breathing, it can help slow your heart rate. We also know that when you've been meditating for long enough, so several weeks to a month, your brain gets so used to doing it that it becomes super easy, and ultimately it becomes easier for you to fall asleep. So the longer you've been meditating and using this practice before bed, the easier it is for you to tell your brain it's time to go to bed and get your brain into sleep mode. So most people are going to benefit the most if they make meditation a consistent part of their pre-sleep routine. So doing it every single night, even when you're not feeling particularly stressed. We also recommend meditation for people with maintenance insomnia, so people who wake up in the middle of the night. Maybe they have no problems falling asleep, but maybe they wake up in the middle of the night and they're tossing and turning and they just can't seem to get back to sleep. Well, most people are gonna just lay in bed until they fall asleep. That almost never works. You're just gonna stress yourself out. You're gonna make yourself more uncomfortable. The other thing that people do is they tend to focus on, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna get enough sleep. I'm gonna be exhausted tomorrow. And that in itself raises your stress level and makes it even harder to sleep. So in that that situation, what we would usually recommend is if you can't fall back to sleep within about 20 to 30 minutes, we would recommend that you actually get out of bed, go somewhere cool, dark, quiet and comfortable, and do a relaxing activity such as meditation for about 10 to 20 minutes. And then after you've done that meditation, or maybe it's deep breathing exercises, go back to bed and try to go back to sleep. More often than not, the people who incorporate that relaxation technique, that meditation, when they're using the out of bed technique when they can't fall back to sleep, are gonna find it easier to fall back to sleep when they get back in bed, as opposed to people who don't do anything to relax themselves. They may find that they get back into bed and they still can't fall back to sleep. So just to kind of reiterate everything I just said, so meditation works by bringing down your stress levels, moving your nervous system from the sympathetic to parasympathetic side. It also helps you to train your brain to quiet all those intrusive thoughts, reduce stress, slow down your breathing, slow down your heart rate, and really get you ready for sleep. The longer you do meditation, the more efficient you become at it, and the better it works for improving your sleep quality. So, we've gone over what meditation is, how it actually helps your sleep. Let's talk about when to meditate. So, meditation can be done at any time of the day. A lot of people like doing it in the morning, some people like doing it on their lunch breaks, but when it comes to sleep, the best way to utilize meditation is to incorporate it into your pre-bedtime routine. And I've touched on your pre-bedtime routine in previous webinars. Go check those out if you're interested in learning more tips about how to improve your sleep. But absolutely everybody, whether you're a good sleeper, a bad sleeper, whether you have a sleep disorder, should be incorporating a bedtime or wind down routine into their life. What does that look like? Well, for most people, it's going to be a half an hour to an hour immediately before you try to sleep. You're going to make it a point to wind down, dim the lights, get very, very comfortable, and do stress-free, relaxing activities leading up to the point of where you shut off your lights and you try to sleep. Now, people who are really struggling to sleep should have at least an hour of wind down time before they try to go to bed. The other thing that's really important for people who struggle with sleep is to keep their bedtime routine very consistent. That means doing the same exact things every single night. So, try not to deviate from your routine too much. Now, the reason this works is because your brain likes habits, it likes patterns, and it likes signals. And when you do a pre-bedtime routine for an hour before you go to bed, where you're doing the same things essentially every single night, it sends a message to your brain that it is sleep time. This is what we're gonna do before we sleep, allowing your brain to go into sleep mode easier, helping you to fall asleep and stay asleep throughout the night. When you incorporate meditation, I recommend incorporating it into the tail end of your pre-bedtime routine. So that means if your bedtime routine is an hour long, you would do meditation at the very end. So you would do it in the last 15 minutes or so before you go to bed. Because meditation is the perfect way to end your night and the perfect way to really slow down your brain, get your brain waves really slow enough to transition into sleep, get your heart rate nice and low, and get your breathing nice and low. And all of those things are going to help you fall asleep and signal to your brain that it is definitely time for bed and we are definitely gonna fall asleep. So incorporate meditation into your bedtime routine, but immediately before you go to sleep. So now that we've talked about all the benefits of meditation and when you should be using it to help you improve your sleep, let's talk about how to get started with meditation. Maybe you've thought about meditation, maybe you've tried it before, maybe you've never tried it before. How do you get into the routine of meditating? Well, practice makes perfect, right? And like I said earlier, you're not going to be able to meditate perfectly on your first go. It's going to take you a few times to get into the routine, to kind of figure out what you have to do with your brain and body to allow yourself to meditate properly. I almost always recommend reading guides online about how to do meditation. They're going to tell you things like how to place your body to get comfortable, how to breathe, what things to focus on, what techniques that you can use. Now, there's not one perfect way to meditate. There's dozens of techniques out there. It's definitely worth a read, whether you read a book about meditation or find a guide online. Kind of looking into all of the different ways you can meditate and trying out some different types of meditation is really beneficial, because you may need to try a few different types before you land on a routine, a meditation routine that works for you. Now, I personally recommend starting out with guided meditation. Guided meditation means that somebody is talking you through the meditation and you're not just trying to do it in your head by yourself without any sound, because that can be very difficult. Guided meditation is somebody talking you through it, telling you exactly what to focus on, whether it be your breathing or visualizing an image. They're going to guide you through the process, and that's going to help your brain retain the focus that it needs to actually get through the meditation. Meditation, you can find guided meditation all over the place. So there's apps, there's audio tapes, YouTube videos. I think even Netflix has guided meditation. There's so many resources. The best and most inexpensive is definitely going to be something like YouTube, where you can find thousands of different guided meditation in various lengths. You can find people whose voices you prefer. You can find people whose techniques you prefer. I always recommend starting out very short, maybe with 10 to 15 minutes, and working your way up from there. Now, eventually, you may get so good at meditation that you don't need guided meditation anymore. You've learned the technique and you can do it yourself. In that case, you can either do it in the silence or you can listen to some calming music while you do it. But there's no perfect way. The point is just to get yourself a good foundation and go from there. Next, and finally, we're going to talk about focused breathing as an alternative to classical meditation. So classical meditation is really about focusing on something specific in your mind, in your mind's eye, whether that be focusing on the way your body feels or focusing on a certain scenery, whereas focused breathing is more about doing breathing exercises in a very specific way and focusing on the feeling of your breath while you're doing that. So not only does focused breathing, so the act of focusing on how you feel while you breathe, very similar to the type of focus that you do in meditation, but the act of deep, slow breathing also enhances that stress reduction. It enhances your nervous system from moving from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic side. So it's like meditation plus, if that makes sense. So focused breathing is going to be a variety of techniques to breathe in deeply. You'll usually be asked to hold your breath for so long and then breathe out over a certain period of time. Just to give you an example, one breathing exercise I really like, it's called the 4-4-8 technique. First, you're going to slowly breathe in for 4 seconds. Then you're gonna hold your breath for 4 seconds and then slowly exhale, really focusing on the feeling of your breathing for 8 seconds. And you're gonna continuously doing that. You're gonna continuously do that while you're focusing on the feeling of your lungs expanding, the feeling of the air going into your lungs, and just the feeling of your brain and body while you're doing these breathing techniques. There's so many different breathing techniques. What I like about the focused breathing as opposed to classical meditation is it's generally easier for people to start with because it gives you something very specific to focus on, which is the feeling of your breathing. There's no complex scenery you need to focus on. There's no complex thoughts. It's simply focusing on your breathing, but it achieves very similar results to meditation. So if you're interested in learning some focused breathing techniques, all you have to do is Google sleep deep breathing exercises. You'll find a ton of them. You can go on YouTube and learn a bunch. There's so many different resources. Or if you would like some resources, feel free to reach out to me. I can send you some links. So just to go over everything we've discussed today. So we talked about why meditation is so beneficial for sleep, where and when to meditate, how to get started, and focused breathing as an alternative. Now, I highly recommend that you do some research before you start meditating. Don't just try to jump in. Maybe start with the guided meditation, but take 20 to 30 minutes to kind of read about meditation, figure out what you think is going to work best for you, and then incorporate it into your pre-bedtime routine. And hopefully, after a while, you're going to find that you're falling asleep easier, your sleep is deeper and more restful, and you're not waking up as much during the night. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's topic. I hope you got some excellent information out of this. Again, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Good luck with your meditating. It can be life-changing for a lot of people. And I will see you in the next webinar. Take care.